all kinds of weird stuff going on at the Supreme Court. I had Jake Curtis on from IRG, good guy, walking us through some of what now is the condition on the ground regarding the Democrats' attempts to kick Jill Stein off the ballot to clear the way for Kamala Harris not having any vote erosion whatsoever. But my question to you, Rick, is given the compressed timeline, can Will file an amicus? Can you join the case? Can anything slow this train down? Because it sounds like the liberal majority on the Supreme Court understands they're playing beat the clock.
Well, with respect to whether Will can file an amicus, that'll happen. In fact, that's happening as we speak. And, we're filing on behalf of two voters. One is a Green Party supporter. The other is a libertarian. And both of them have an interest in seeing the law followed and not distorted in order to kick off from the ballot third-party presidential candidates that they would like to consider. The problem with this is that if the petitioner is right, it essentially means that any third-party candidate from third party that is qualified to be on the ballot, like the Green Party, like the Libertarian Party, like the Constitution Party, they will not be able to run a presidential candidate in this state on the ballot unless they're also contesting state legislative races, or they happen to have a sitting state legislator, or they happen to have a member who holds a state office. And that doesn't affect just the Green Party. It can affect other third parties as well.
Of course it can. It affects the Libertarian Party pretty aggressively. Not every single election drafts candidates in every single race in the state of Wisconsin. So basically, you're saying unless you have the wherewithal, the resources to, compete with the two parties that are protected by law and statute and tradition in the United States, screw you. That's what Wisconsin Supreme Court is poised to say.
Yeah, I mean, they come back and say, well, there is a way to get on the ballot as an independent, but it's much more difficult. It has to be done on a state-by-state basis. It has to be done much, much, much earlier in the election cycle. And the United States Supreme Court has made pretty clear that this type of unequal access to the ballot between major parties and minor parties is problematic. It raises constitutional questions. The argument here that's advanced by the petition also raises constitutional questions with respect to qualifications for a candidate to run for office. And it essentially adds additional qualifications. If you're a member of a party who's qualified for the ballot, you have to be contesting other state races. And there's nothing in the United States Constitution that requires that. And quite frankly, it's fundamentally anti-democratic. I mean, if the Green Party wants to contest, or the Libertarian Party wants to contest state legislative offices, they certainly can do it. But to say that if they don't, they lose their ability to have their presidential candidate appear on the ballot in the same way as the Democratic or Republican candidate would appear on the ballot, raises just fundamental questions about fairness and democracy. It, I think, is a misreading of state law, and if it were a correct reading of state law, it would raise grave constitutional concerns.